welcome to our week 11 video. This week we're going to be talking about how we can add details to body paragraphs and create more interest, basically. We're going to take a look now through each of the slides, and I'm going to be starting on slide 1. So for our first slide, I would like you, we're going to go through to slide number 2. So on slide number 2, we're going to work through some easy ways to make your writing better, again, as we have been doing each week. Although this might not be the most exciting thing for you, this is really, really important for you to pay attention to these parts, because this will help you really, really quickly if you pay attention. So if we take a look at slide number 2, what I'd like you to do is see if you can figure out how you could improve this. So pause the video now. I'm just going to keep going, but if you pause the video, take a quick look through, and I've highlighted some words that I think are important. So have a look and see if you can fix them. Okay, I'm going to continue on to slide number 3, and the simplest correction you could make here is actually this is not what I asked you for. I asked you for a paragraph, and this is essentially just a dialogue. So a dialogue is what you did in your interview, but I didn't want the interview. What I wanted you to do was to conduct the interview, to give the interview, and then to write about what you learned. So this is part of the process. So first and foremost, this is not a paragraph. So right away, you didn't do what was asked of you. Okay, so there were a couple of points here. So remember that if you're talking about people, we should be using whose, and if we're writing after a comma, it should be a small w, because this is something that I noticed that many students are not doing. A comma is just a pause. It's not finishing the sentence. The only time you use a capital letter in the middle of a sentence would be for a name. A comma is not a full stop. A period stops the sentence, and then we use a capital letter, but not with a comma in English. Remember that with names, we don't need the. Benzino, I feel there is only one. But anyways, that's the name, so we only need the name, we don't need the. Remember that anytime you write a title, including song titles, we still need to use capital letters for all the major words. Be careful. I've noticed that a lot of students are adding a lot of extra words that you don't need. So try your best to just stick to what it is you want to focus on. And then right at the end, we see thank you for the interview today is all you need to say. We don't need to add extra. Once again, I don't want the interview. Please do not include the interview, because as you're writing your paragraph, you explain what you did. You do not, please don't write the questions, because the questions are in the answers. Next one, let's move on now to slide number 4. So for slide number 4, what I would like you to do is tell me for slide number 4, I would like you to see if you can find, let's say, one very simple way to improve this. If you can find more than one, excellent job. So pause the video now and have a look. Okay, I'm going to move on. So if we take a look at slide 5, you'll notice that the first thing is the shape. So in slide 4, we can see that this student has written 2 sentences and then started a new paragraph and written 2 sentences and started a new paragraph and written 2 sentences. Actually, for a paragraph, you should always put the sentences together. So remember, again, I'm going to show you again that when we write paragraphs, they look like blocks. So in this case, they're using a slightly different style. Let's go. Okay, so if we take a look here, here's an example of our paragraph, and you can see here that we start with a space and then there's a block shape. So we don't write two sentences and start a new paragraph and two sentences and start a new paragraph. We need all 10 sentences together to make the paragraph. I thought that was the most important point. Also, right away, I noticed that the title, we were missing the article for interview, and you don't need to say your partner. If you want to, you can, but actually the fact that you're interviewing somebody means there is a partner present. We don't need to say that unless you're doing an interview with yourself, which would be unusual. Anyways, so remember please that for a paragraph it goes all together, and we start with a space at the front, and that your title should be short, direct, and it should consist of what your major topic is. I'm noticing that a lot of students aren't using they're not using titles, but remember that this is the first step in showing your book title. You know, it shows what the general topic is, what the book is about. Moving on. So we're moving on now to slide number 6. I'm just going to check and make sure that my camera is running, which it is. Excellent. So slide number 6. This is our third and final check for some simple ways to improve your writing. So have a look. I've highlighted some comparisons, you know, when we're using two sentences together, because this is part of what we're learning this semester, is to make sure that they're connected correctly. So I noticed these issues were very common. So please take a look and see if you can figure out what's wrong with these. Go ahead. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead again, but if you need more time, don't forget to pause the video and have a look. So I'm going to take a look. Number 1, roughly I asked what kind of food you like. So you refers to the reader, whoever's reading your work, which was not what the interview was about. So be careful to make sure that your pronouns and your possessive pronouns match your intention, your meaning. So I asked what kind of food he liked. Okay, and this is part of our work this semester, as well as using third person in English. So he likes chicken. So it should, of course, be what food he likes. Number 2, if your partner went out with his girlfriend, then the two of them ate kimchi jjigae together, not suddenly we change the topic and you're talking about yourself eating kimchi jjigae. I think that's what happened anyways. Number 3, in this case we had 2 girls interviewing, and her partner said she liked it, but you're talking about yourself, so it should be me, because I have a good personality. And I would use have present tense because your personality, I hope, hasn't changed or won't change. You're a good person, that's it. Number 4, so remember that if you're talking about last week, your partner interviewed you about your favorite book. So it should be talking about yourself, me, talking about my favorite book last week. Number 5, again, we had a question here. There were a lot of issues just with this one sentence. Remember, again, I don't want the question. You don't need to write the question, because if you have written the answer and the paragraph correctly, I know what the question was. Do be careful to make sure that you are writing the answer fully in the paragraph, because I had some people who didn't mention music or bands that they had interviewed about. They just started talking about the band. But remember that maybe I won't know the band, or whoever is reading your work won't know the band, so introduce them first as what they are, the general topic. So in this case, I just got rid of the whole question. So I interviewed my partner. I think that's clear and it's true. That's what you're talking about. Number 6. Number 6 was very cute because we didn't use the word about. In English and in Korean, I think it's used the So you interviewed Jisoo. I changed the names for all of the assignments because I wasn't sure, maybe you feel a little bit shy about me using your work. Don't be shy, it's no problem, but I did change the names just to be considerate. Anyway, so I interviewed Jisoo about her puppy. So if you say I interviewed Jisoo Kim's puppy, that means, here is her puppy, and I talked to the dog about the dog. But actually what we want to say is you interviewed this person thinking about her puppy, her dog. Number 7 was interesting. I've run into this a few times. Now, once again, when we use acronyms like MBTI or ISTJ, again, I may not know what you're referring to. So the first time you want to use an acronym, which is just the first letters of the 4 words, MBTI, the first time you have to write it long form. So you have to write M, what M means, B, what B means, T, what T means, and what I means. And then then in brackets you put the short form, and from then on you can use the short form. But you do have to write the long form first. And the same is true for the ISTJ. You would need to tell me what ISTJ is. Now also when you use acronyms, when you use these short forms, it should be something that is globally accepted. For example, ASAP is a globally accepted acronym. I'm not sure what MBTI is or ISTJ. But anyways, the first step is that you should write it in the long form, and then in brackets behind you put the short form, and then afterwards you can use the short form. And also here we had person, so remember to use your articles. She's a very practical person. And overall, in and over are both prepositions, so we don't need double. So we get rid of in. Overall means generally. Number 8, free time is not, we don't really count time, so it's just free time. We don't need and remember that when we're using he, even if we add in the frequency, we say usually, we still need to add the es, the third person. Number 9, remember that for president, normally when we talk about a president, there's only one. So in this case, we would say she would like to change places with the Samsung president. And finally, the next one, this is our last one for this week. Very good job. I really enjoy reading, learning about what interviews you're conducting. Oh, also, one more point is, these interviews should not be just one question. The idea is that you're asking lots of questions and then you're deciding, you're choosing what answers were the most interesting to talk about, basically. So number 10 is our last one, and we have next comma. Remember that after a comma, it should always be a small letter, unless it's a name. So next comma, it should be he, and then you can just say he likes novels. I think once again that maybe the student used a lot of words when really you just want to sort of look at actually what it is that he likes. So rather than saying a novel style books, we also had some confusion about and many novels. You can just say novels. Anyways, moving on. So we're going to get into some review, I guess, to start with. So what I'd like you to do first is to take a look at your week 10 assignment. And what I'd like you to do is to find your details from last week. So what I want you to do is write them down like this. So detail 1, and you write down what your detail 1 was, detail 2, what your detail 2 was, detail 3, like that. You do not have to write a full sentence if you don't want to, that's fine. You can write just the topics. But we're going to use this as your week 11 assignment part 1 because I want to use this to help you understand the concept of how an essay is written. So what I'd like to do now is move on to slide number 9. So slide number 9 is writing about an essay. And what I'd like to do again is we're still working on essay structure. We're not writing essays yet. But what's really important is for you to understand the concept, the idea behind an essay. So what we're going to do is take a look, first of all, at how many paragraphs are in an essay. So in this case, we have 5 paragraphs in an essay. So if you think about it, if we have 5 paragraphs, then we have 50 sentences. So what I want to do first is to think about it. So I've got a picture here of a hamburger essay. So what I would like to bring your attention to is the top bun, the bread, and the bottom bun, the bread, are both bread. Okay, so they're types of bread. And they're very similar, same materials, but the shape is a little bit different, the style is a bit different in how they're made. And then if we take a look, and I've used colors again this week to try to explain the ideas behind this clearly. So lettuce is green. So lettuce we see is the first point paragraph. Okay, so this is your detail 1 paragraph. The red is the second point paragraph, which is our tomatoes, and perhaps you don't like lettuce or tomatoes, or hamburgers, but this is just an example, it's an analogy to help you understand the concept of how to write an essay. So the second point paragraph is your detail 2. The third point paragraph is the meat. Here we've got some maybe beef, we'll say. So the third point paragraph is your detail 3, okay? So these are your topics, which would be the topics for your paragraph 2, 3, and 4. And this is why the details from last week are important, is because I want you to be able to connect the idea of what your paragraph 2 would be about, is your detail 1, what your paragraph 3 would be about, the topic would be your detail 2, and paragraph 4, the topic would be detail 3. So anyways, these are your topics, this is how you get it. And once again, don't forget that the introduction, the first paragraph, and your conclusion paragraph have the same information. Your introduction details, okay, which is what we talked about here, detail 1, 2, and 3, and the body paragraph topics, they're the same, okay, so that's what I wanted to point out. Basically, in your introduction, you're talking about the top bun, lettuce, tomato, beef, and the bottom bun, and those are your 5 sentences, 5 sentence topics, and then the 3 main details become your new paragraph topics. So detail 1, detail 2, detail 3, paragraph 2 topic, paragraph 3 topic, and paragraph 4 topic. So moving on, let's take a look at slide number 10. So for example, so if in my interview, okay, so in this case I talked with my partner about their favorite childhood snacks, their favorite childhood TV shows, and their childhood crush, okay? So if this was my example structure, these are the details that I chose to talk about last week, then paragraph 2, topic, so the whole paragraph would be about favorite childhood snacks. And then I would find the 3 different favorite childhood snacks that my friend had, or maybe 3 reasons why they liked a snack. The paragraph 3 topic would be my detail 2. So in this case, it would be favorite childhood TV shows. This is my tomatoes, right? So I would ask my partner about her favorite or his favorite childhood TV shows and why they liked them. The paragraph 4 topic, so now this whole paragraph would be about the childhood crush, so the person that my partner liked when they were in elementary school. And that is the basic framework for an essay. So I'm hoping that this is clear. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more, and we are going to practice it, but I just want the idea to be clear. So moving to slide 11, essay format once again, so I'm going to go through this again. Paragraph 1, so we're thinking about the top bun. This is our introduction paragraph, which means we introduce the general topic. We introduce our 3 general details, and we conclude the general topic again. Okay, so this is our first paragraph, and we've been practicing writing introduction paragraphs. If we move to slide 12, then we get into the lettuce, the tomato, and the beef. So this is the main part of your essay. And this is why getting good details from your partner is so important. So if we take a look, so our lettuce, paragraph 2, we're going to introduce detail 1 and investigate it, talk about it in depth. So we give 3 examples of this detail 1, or we give 3 reasons, or 3 new details about that. And then we conclude with detail 1 again. Paragraph 3 are tomatoes. So if we talk about the tomatoes are our detail 2. So in this case, we would introduce detail 2 once again using new words. We'd give 3 examples or reasons or details, and once again we would conclude. So this time the entire paragraph is about detail 2. Paragraph 4 would be our beef. So in this case, paragraph 4, again, we would talk about the introduction. We would introduce what our detail 3 is. Then we give 3 examples again about 3 reasons, 3 details about that. And then once again we conclude. And moving to slide 13. So this is our final point for our burger. So we've talked about the bun, talked about the lettuce, the tomato, the beef, and now we're back at the conclusion. So for paragraph 5, which is the conclusion paragraph, again, we discuss the topic generally again, the whole topic, and we once again discuss each of the details very, very briefly, and then we conclude for the entire general topic. Now, the key to writing an essay, of course, is that you're using different words, interesting words, and especially what's important for this is synonyms, what we discussed last week, 2 words with the same or similar meanings, and adjectives. So adjectives, or 형용사, are also really important because it increases interest and it helps to provide more information for what you think about your topic. All right, so we're going to move on now to our main portion of the video for this week. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at adjectives. And what I'd like to do is take a look at slide 15. So if we take a look at slide 15, what I'd like you to do here is to do a practice exercise. So here we are, we have some adjectives. Adjectives describe. So essentially what we're doing this week is taking a look at adjectives specifically because when we use more adjectives, and I suggest 2 per noun is excellent, this gives more detail about your thinking and your partner's thinking, and so this gives more interest to the reader. So we have some pictures here. We've got 4 pictures. What I'd like you to do first is take a look at the picture of the cat and see if you can think of, let's go for 3 adjectives for this cat. Okay, so perhaps you got black, cute, small, kitten. You know, these are furry, fuzzy. You know, these are the words that we're looking for because when we add these words, we increase the information we're giving to whomever is listening to us or reading what we have written. Let's take a look at the bulgogi. I'm hoping you're not hungry. Anyways, take a look at the bulgogi and see if you can come up with 3 adjectives to describe the bulgogi. Go! Okay, so what we're looking for here is you could, and remember to open your mind and use lots of ideas. So you could use words like raw, you could use red, beef, You could use grilled if you wanted. You know, lots and lots of choices are available. So try your best to use your vocabulary as much as possible. I bet that probably 80% of you said delicious, which is also a good word. But remember, use lots of words. Don't just stick to the easy ones. Now, the third picture I have here, I put up because they used the adjectives in the picture. So I thought that was perfect. This is exactly what I'm trying to show you. If we just put fashion 2021, maybe it's interesting, but not as interesting as when we add these adjectives. So we've got best Korean summer fashion for 2021. It gives much more information to us. And what about our fourth picture? Here we are. See if you can think of 3 adjectives to describe this picture now. Go. Okay, well, I'm hoping you came up with some, good words to describe. Maybe handsome, bright, happy, lovely, lots of words involved. Professional, amazing, superstar. I shouldn't say superstar. Maybe it should. But anyways, the idea is we're looking for lots of words to describe. Now, this gives you amazing power when you're writing in English or presenting in English. So this really, really is a simple way to improve your writing and your presentation skills just immediately like that. You got to think about it though. That's what we're working on. So moving on to slide 16. Slide 16 is our next point. So how do we make adjectives? Basically, adjectives we can make from nouns or verbs, and then we just add a suffix. So what exactly is a suffix? A suffix is an ending. So for example, if we have communicate, right? To communicate is our verb. Then we want to talk about something or someone who's good at doing that. Then we say, oh, he's communicative. Or if we want to talk about some disease that people can get by communicating, right? They can give it to somebody by touch or breathing. It's a communicative disease, perhaps. Now, also I wanted to point out, because I use this short form, e.g., I just want to explain that it means for example. So if you see it again, remember please, it means for example. So let's take a look at some adjective endings and how to make adjectives. Because often, you will know these words, but sometimes maybe you want to create a word and, you should check to make sure it is a real word before you use it if you're not sure. But what I did is I researched what the most common adjective endings are. So I encourage you to not only to use 2 adjectives per noun, but you should also be using these endings because these are very common. So you're familiar with all of these, but what I'm trying to do is to get you to think about it and to use these. So number 1, the first ending that we should talk about is able or ible. So examples are understandable, readable, incredible. A pig flying is incredible. It means it's unbelievable. But unbelievable, there you are, there's another one. Anyways, you should be using these words basically as much as you can. And especially for your young students, because for your elementary school students, they will copy you. So if you use these in class, then they will also. Number 2 is the AL ending, so O. So we have mathematics, and if we talk about something that uses mathematics, or formulas, or formulaic expression perhaps, we can say it's mathematical. Something that's functional, or influential people maybe, chemical. These are all good examples of our AL ending. Moving to slide number 18. So this is our number 3, 4, 5 most common suffixes, which are endings. So we have something that's full of beauty, means it's beautiful. Something that's full of help is helpful, or somebody who's full of help is helpful. And something that's full of harm is harmful. So I chose this picture because this picture is considered to be one of the most beautiful pictures. What do you think? Is it beautiful? I think it's quite amazing. We're getting to the INGs in a minute. Now, of course, we have the opposite. So something that's full of beauty is beautiful, but then we need to also have the opposing, when there's none of that. So if you have no sleeves, it's sleeveless, like this gentleman is wearing. He's wearing a sleeveless top. Or if you have no hope, maybe you're trying to do something, but you feel like you're never going to do it, you feel hopeless. Or you know, perhaps a baby or a little tiny kitten is helpless. They can't help themselves. And perhaps these days, if you're having trouble sleeping and you keep tossing and turning, it means you're restless. You can't rest. You need to keep moving around. You can't relax enough. Our fifth one is the IC ending, which describes things like if an artist has done that or has thought about it. For example, this staircase, I think it's very artistic, and something that is amazing is terrific. Moving to slide number 19, these are moving to the end, so something that ends with OUS. So here we've got a gorgeous picture, or you can say dangerous things. An adventurous child. I like this picture, the little guy. And number 7, the IVE ending. So someone who is inventive, perhaps, who likes to invent things, or a person who is attractive, means that you feel like they're a magnet and they pull you towards them. And number 20, or slide 20, I should say, I think this is the easiest one. So number 8 is just when you take your noun or your verb and you add a Y. So I've given you some examples here. So we've got win, chill, trend, mess, fun, smell, scare, laze, pick. Okay, so if we talk about each of these with the Y, we create some new words. So we're going to take a quick look at descriptions that we're using with these. So we just add a Y. After workout, my boyfriend is smelly. And smelly is a negative. So perhaps you can see the picture of the guy. Ooh, Nimse. Today is windy. And we can also use it if we describe a windy day, for example. So I've given you the same meaning. They're identical in meaning, but we have 2 different ways of writing them. So I looked up some trends this year. So these are trendy looks. There's some trendy jeans here, which are usually high-waisted, tight at the waist, and bigger through the leg. And then this is supposed to be the makeup trend for 2021. Do you agree? I don't know. These looks are trendy. Trends are what's popular at that time. The last one I wanted to talk about was being picky. So here we've taken the word to pick, right? To pick up, pick something, choose. And for example, this child here does not like his vegetables. So a picky eater is, for example, a kid who doesn't want to eat certain things. So some children are picky eaters. Are you a picky eater? Are there some things that you don't want to eat and you're very careful to take out of your food? Anyways, moving on to slide 21, we're going to continue down the road of looking at noun plus Y or verb plus Y. So here we've got laze, to laze. Which is, as you can see from this dog, so here's our dog, she's lazy, or she's a lazy dog, we can also say. If we keep going and we take a look at slide 22, we take a look at these movies. So we've got A Tale of Two Sisters and Monster Mansion. Ghost Mansion. So scare plus Y, when we describe something, we say it's scary. So these movies are scary. Or you can say, this is a scary movie. These are scary movies. It's up to you, but remember that we do need to count. Moving on to another is when we use number 9. So I'm looking now at slide 23. The verb plus ed. So when we use the ed form, it's my feeling inside. So for example, I am excited. So here we've got this little girl. She's very excited. I'm bored, or I'm annoyed. I'm embarrassed. We can use all of these words with the ed. Ed always means inside. And if we take a look at slide 24, slide 24 is plus ing. And in this case, we're talking about something outside. So it was exciting. It was boring. So in this case, I looked at this picture and I thought it was very exciting. Maybe too exciting? Too exciting for me anyways. But I know some of you like rock climbing. What do you think about this picture? Is it exciting? Scary. Anyways. And maybe it's boring for you. I don't know. Mosquitoes. What do you think about mosquitoes? Mosquitoes are annoying. Okay, because they are outside. So if it's outside, it's ing. So we are at the end of this week's video, and I'm right on time. I did promise you that my last couple videos were a little bit long, so I'm trying to be a little bit shorter. If we move to slide 25, this is your assignment for this week. So what I would like you to do for your week 11 assignment is 2 parts. Number 1, I would like you to write down 3 details from your week 10 assignment. Number 2, I would like you to write 1 paragraph about a person you know, okay? So what I would like you to do is to describe that person and choose 3 details that you like about that person. So it can be, you don't need to interview anybody, this is just your opinion. You can interview them if you want to, there's no problem. So the focus for this week, because this is why I'm making it a simpler exercise, is because I would like you to add adjectives. So each time that you use a noun, I would like you to use 2 adjectives. So if you talk about person, please describe the person. If you talk about their hair or their clothes or their style, describe their hair or their clothes or their style. Also, please remember to use your transition words. So when you're using your details, detail 1, start with your first, or to start, or to begin. Next, furthermore, also. And for your last one, you can use last, or finally, or in conclusion, something like that. And then I would also like you please to underline your details 1, 2, and 3 for your paragraph. So I hope everyone is safe and healthy, as your family and friends are too. Remember to still be careful. Try your best to take care of yourselves. Make sure that you're not too stressed. And remember, if you do have any problems or any issues, do contact me. I'm always happy to hear from you. So I hope you have a wonderful week. Stay warm, and I will see you, well, I won't see you, I guess, but I will put up a new video next week. So until then, goodbye. Have a great day.